All right. How about this?
It's the 6th century BC, ancient Greece, and the inventor
Wow,
Perilos was going to
Greece!
impress the king. Like any good
how
inventor,
so?
Perilos recognized a niche that needed to be filled. Tyrants
And
often
what
found
was it?
themselves with a bunch of prisoners in need of a good old flick on the off switch, and these executions needed to be as horrific as possible to dissuade would-be ne'er-do-wells. So how can one go about burning delinquents alive while making the spectacle fun for the whole family? Perhaps we could burn the criminals inside of something that was much nicer to look at than charring flesh. Well, if we learned anything from Fisher-Price toys, it's that kids love their animals. But if we learned anything else, it's also that the bull doesn't go, "Oh, it burns! It burns!" So after snapping some synapses of his sinister little sane cerebrum, he invented the brazen bull.
There it
statue
is,
of
the
a bull
brazen
that sits
bull.
over a fire with just enough space inside for some criminal stew. However, the real human meat and potatoes of the device was in the statue's snoot, an acoustic series of tubes that would convert the screams of the poor ingredients inside into a sound like the bellows of a bull. With his prototype complete, Perilos pitched his beast to the ruthless King Phalaris of Akragos, claiming the screams of the condemned would bring pleasure to his ears. And I guarantee you, the screams of the damned coming out of this puppy will be sick as hell. No way. Check it. Holy shit, that's awesome!
Whoa, that is awesome!
What?
I want one.
Disgusted by Perilos' description of the device, Phalaris tricked Perilos by asking him to demonstrate the horns, locking him inside, and setting fire underneath the bull to hear the inventor's quite genuine demonstration. Before getting too medium well, the tyrant's tender heart decided to show mercy, freeing Perilos from the brazen bull and throwing him off a cliff. The tale of the brazen bull was difficult to verify, and very well could have been more legend than fact. However, the lessons it teaches are all too real. Now, Jeff, tell me, what was Perilos' biggest mistake here? Whoa, dude, this edible's really kicking in. That's right, he didn't file for a patent. A patent would have given Perilos intellectual property over his brazen bull, and thus make it illegal for third parties, like the king, to use his device without his permission.
Ah, yes, the old Nintendo shuffle.
In short, if you're gonna deal with devils, make sure you do it in their language. The letter of the law. The light of redemption shines upon my face from above. I climb as my mortal shadow clings to my soul. Jesus, man, what the fuck did you take? Here. Hell yeah, now it's a party. Dude, no, it's water. God, I can't believe I'm saying this, but I think I'm just gonna let you sit this one out and rest. Ain't no rest for the wicked.
I don't think that was water. That looks a little too purple.
Anyway, for inventors around the world, patents are the must-have piece of paper for granting them ownership over whatever gadgets or gizmos they can puke out of their imaginations. However, even if they existed around the time of Perilos, you're unlikely to be able to patent something as overtly unethical as a human crockpot murder statue. But that doesn't mean there's not gray areas.
Also, summoning the purple stuff. Why would you ever drink anything else? Soda, juice, purple stuff. I would go for the purple stuff immediately. Fuck the Sunny D.
So today, we're gonna learn about the inventors that really pushed the moral envelope and created some of history's most ethically questionable
baby cage. I got a BlueJay penny in every video. Ooh.
In 1927, there once was a bright mind in California who shared a hobby with yours truly. Punishing naughty boys. Helene Adelaide Shelby was on a mission to solve the problem of the high number of retracted confessions plaguing the criminal justice system. What good was arresting naughty little boys if so many of them evaded being chained up in a cell, Helene thought. Therefore, our hero decided to target this issue at its source, the interrogation room. Questioning culprits with your run-of-the-mill detective was so 1910s fashion after all, so she found herself pondering a question we all have from time to time. What if, instead of a random dude in a button-up threatening them with some measly prison time, the culprits feared for their mortal soul instead? Behold, the future. The suspect, believed to have killed a man in cold blood, nervously inches his way into a dark room, the door slamming shut behind him. The space before him is chillingly empty, save for a single curtain draped over the far wall. His breath catches and heart pounds as chains clink taut, lifting the curtain and revealing his guilt. The skeletal remains of the very man he murdered, standing once more before him. A shroud of ominous light radiates from the blood-lusted red light bulbs in his eyes.
That's spooky.
Wait a minute, light bulb? But before he can question further, his hair stands on end as he suddenly hears a winding, painful churn emanate from the corpse, sounding suspiciously like a tape recorder.
Oh. It is I, Michael Dahlman. Confess to your crimes.
A skeleton?
Could I just have a lawyer?
Fuck.
Helene found an apparatus for obtaining criminal confessions and recording them. In essence, it was a lie detector consisting.
What the fuck? Yeah. I have a good, strong feeling that the victim's family would object to something like this, such as using their fucking loved ones' remains for this.
Of a skeleton in a dark room with spooky lighting and red light bulbs for eyes. With a megaphone and film camera in its skull, Helene's goal was to induce a supernatural experience to work upon the suspect's imagination and cause them to
Hollywood,
spontaneously
perchance?
confess to their crimes. And honestly, not a terrible idea. After all, the fear of supernatural punishment works for Catholic boys in confessional booths, but that was because of a different kind of bone. Now, is it immoral to patent a device whose primary function is essentially psychological torture? Sure, but that's only a problem if you're using it on people. These are criminals. But regardless,
criminals aren't
any
people.
Evidence
this is true, by the way. Criminals aren't people.
Was ever actually built and used, which is probably a blessing in disguise, as it's pretty much the poster child for a coerced confession. Criminals aren't quite people, as we've learned, but believe it or not, they are still good for one thing. Their bodies.
Labor!
No, I don't just mean the bountiful slave labor they provide for pennies on the dollar in the land of the free. I'm talking about their corpses. With medical schools booming post-American Civil War, the study of anatomy and dissection on cadavers was growing in demand. And if you were one of the up-and-coming surgical...
Fun times in Civil War. Very fun. Oh, you got shot and you survived? Lop his leg off.
Students looking to slice and dice in a way that suffice, you needed a steady supply of legal corpses in the form of donors or executed criminals. But unfortunately for them, the demand had begun to outpace the supply for corpses, so it looks like they're shit out of luck.
Wait, what is that mystery? What's that mystery thing?
Go for it. Oh, well, this solves everything. The illicit body snatching trade was at an all-time high in the late 1800s, providing perfect, albeit slightly decomposed bodies for all your student slicing needs. And so naturally, this also opened a market for the anti-body snatching trade. Enter Philip K. Clover, an Ohio artist who got to work theorizing ways to shoot body snatchers in the foot. What if I shoot them in the foot? Introducing the Coffin torpedo. Patented in 1878, the invention sought to, quote, prevent the unauthorized resurrection of dead bodies. To do this, an explosive would be rigged underneath the coffin lid with a tripwire, so that when a would-be thief took a gander inside, they'd be met with a mouthful of lead pellets, increasing the body count in the grave. Why bother trying to change a criminal's heart when you can just remove it? Obviously, this would be an excellent deterrent for any aspiring grave robbers. You know, so long as you're careful about when you set it. Hey, it's supposed to be an open casket.
Wait!
Jeffrey!
No!
Hey, it's supposed to be an open casket.
Wait!
There was also the grave torpedo, patented in 1881.
Wait, why are there two shots? They pay inmates 27 cents an hour. I mean, they are also doing time, so... Shrug.
But instead of a 12-gauge makeover hidden inside the coffin lid, this one was pretty much just a landmine buried above the coffin. A pretty bold deterrent, only made more fitting by the ominous advertisement for the device stating,
Boost that Katie even after death. Also, the chat's in the way. Maybe I should have a thing that erases chat for after a while.
Sleep well, sweet angel. Let no fears of ghouls disturb thy rest, for above thy shrouded form lies a torpedo, ready to make minced meat of anyone who attempts to convey you to the pickling vat. A description that comes off a little too eager for gore, in my opinion, so I wouldn't be surprised if this guy spent many a night hiding in cemeteries to see if his device worked. Yo boy, here they come!
So, this is it? Yeah, I can't believe it. We did it, George. We finally found my father's grave after 10 long years. I'd just about given up hope, but I knew how much he wanted me to have the Peters family locket that he was buried with.
Oh no.
It's been in our family for 145 years after all.
Oh no!
My 8 young children, all under the age of 9, half of which who have disabilities, will be so thrilled to have this locket back in our family. I'm their only source of support left after the tragic passing of their mother and all of our extended relatives in a series of horrific accidents. They could really use a pick-me-up. Speaking of, can you help me pick this up?
It's unclear how widespread these devices were in their time, but there were reported cases of them killing or injuring a number of robbers. However, innovations in refrigeration would soon curb the corpse supply problem, so these devices would be rather short-lived. And good thing they were, because I doubt OSHA would be too fond of having cemetery workers basically stare a live Victorian claymore in the face as they carefully lower it 6 feet into the ground without any sudden movements. But enough about people at the end.
That got me.
What about the beginning? The wonder of childbirth is said to be one of the most beautiful moments you can ever experience.
In the beginning.
I don't say that. I find it C tier at best, but maybe we can make it better.
Wow, Pirates Online! When the DVD logo hits the corner, the yo-yo, the cube world, tax evasion, the switchblade comb, the beer drinking apps, and of course, actual taxes.
Have you ever been giving birth and thought to yourself, not enough G-force? Well, back in the 1960s, George...
I don't think this because I'm not a woman.
And Charlotte Blonsky sought to spin things up in the baby delivery meta by literally spinning the woman up, submitting a patent for a, quote, apparatus for facilitating the birth of a child by centrifugal force. Seeking to reverse the decline in both infant and maternal mortality rates, the idea was to strap an expectant mother to a table shaped like a foreshadowing crucifix, a lever,
oh my god.
And then spin the poor woman on the most painful day of her life until the baby pops out into a net, delivering a baby and giving it its first crib. Now that's what I call killing 2 birds with 1 stone.
Killing
Except
2
the birds are people. And a mother and child. Now, you might imagine the Blonsky couple must have come up with this idea based on their own childbirth experiences. No, they were childless. Instead, they got the idea from a zoo, where they watched an elephant spinning around in labor. Wow, nature is beautiful. Sir, do they always do that? What?
Look at him go.
Oh, yeah.
Wait, is that the fucking Temple OS elephant?
Oh, yeah, like, that's just nature. That. What?
No, okay, no, it isn't.
Oh, yeah, like,
Terry Davis,
that's just nature.
My beloved.
Supposedly, they were told by the zookeeper that this was something elephants do all the time before giving birth, which, by the way, is just not true? I couldn't confirm that anywhere in my research, so that guy was probably just fucking with them. And thank God he did, because it ended up giving me excellent YouTube content. They believed that a device like this was necessary because, as they put it, civilized women did not have the musculature present in more primitive women, who had easy and pain-free childbirths. Because what is a 1960s patent without a wee bit of racial undertone? I'm sure there's probably a few concerns going through your minds. Like, what if it doesn't spin fast enough to get the baby out? No, it will. It got up to 7 Gs of force.
Oh my god!
That's as much as Apollo 16 experienced on re-entry of Earth's atmosphere. This
Jesus
would essentially
fucking
turn
Christ!
Your precious newborn into a 54-pound medicine ball desperately pushing to rupture the walls of your womb. Other features include an emergency brake for safety or comedic effect, and a bell to announce the joyous occasion and signal the end of the ride. It's reported that this device was never used, and no babies were born this way, although I believe we have evidence that proves otherwise. At the end of the day, the fetus fidget spinner was truly ahead of its time, as I can 100% see this device selling well in our current environment, given some slight modifications. Alright, ma'am, you ready for the happiest day of your life? Yes, I'm just happy this should make the process quick. Not too quick, though. Try to hold on for about 27 seconds for me, and aim for black. The father's wife.
Aim for black?
Place your bets, folks, place your bets. It ends in 25 seconds. $50 on red, 100 on first 12. It's coming! You better hold it in or I'm charging the payouts to your medical bill. The Wheel of Misfortune was awarded the Ig Nobel Prize posthumously in 1999, a parody award of the Nobel Prize. Because after all, an idea doesn't have to be good to get a patent, it just has to be new. Anyway, there are a ton of these patents out there, so let me know in the comments.
Very nice. That was awesome. I'm so glad that the chat member recommended this channel. I'm so glad that chat member recommended this. This video is inspiring. Taking after the Brazen Bull, I've hooked up some PVC pipe to my car so it plays the music for me when I leave my toddlers. The anti-grave robber one, since it was legal to take corpses of criminals for medical supply, then the invention not only stopped them from robbing corpses, but also provided new dead criminals for the medical world. Yep, win-win. Win-win. The idea is horrible when the literal tyrant is so disgusted he kills you for it. Thank Kevin that Tyrant hadn't heard of pay-to-win microtransactions. It'd be too much. Yeah, literally giving a Victorian child some Baja Blast. I would love a part 2. Someday. Someday.